Welcome back to Football Coach, episode 71. Close call. We nearly won our pretty high prestige bowl game against LSU, but with that loss, we finished the season 8-5. But speaking of finish the season, everybody else has finished as well, and it's Ohio State who has beaten Georgia in triple overtime to be, I think, the second undefeated champion we've had in over the course of this series. And USC 13-1 ended up at number 2, Georgia number 3, Notre Dame, Clemson, Texas, Arizona, Michigan State, Auburn, and Nebraska your top 10 in the rankings this year. But we've had an incredible 35th. We've had an incredible 35th place finish. 83 for that offense was good enough for a top 30, so yeah, we should have been. But with defense only at 60th, you blend the two, and we definitely finished a little ahead of where we could have or should have. And as I feared, because of the weaknesses of our defense, that we might be in for a 6-6 season, I'm very happy at 8-5. In terms of yards and points, we were right on track to be that 35th best team. So, greatly exceeding the expectation of winning 4 games brings our athletic director opinion up to a 90, and the fan base passion has grown to its maximum once again. We did fail one objective, so we ended up taking a -1. Coach integrity at 61%. We had 12 targets, promised 20, third string guy. I mean, what can you do? Especially when we barely use a tight end. Our number 1 guy only had 13 targets on the year. I'm not going to break it down for you, but the semifinals was Notre Dame losing and Texas losing a close one to Georgia. It was Notre Dame getting absolutely hammered by Ohio State. Remember, they hammered us at the beginning of the year, and it was very discouraging. They, by the way, have the best defense that I've ever seen in this series. They had an 89 this year, and it really showed. They hammered Nebraska and Notre Dame on their way to what was still a very good defensive performance. 3 overtimes. Their offense just didn't show up that one day. Georgia held them. That's a 2-level jump with such a successful season for head coach Bobby Rivera, and still just 38 years of age and up to level 20. We can add another point to training, which is already really good. I think at 8, he's good. I think at 8, he is very good. I think we need to get our head coach into being a strong recruiter. So we're going to dump 2 points into that, give him a 7. He's also going to earn a new badge. And linebacker has been a problem for us for a while. We're going to take a 7% boost to linebacker development during the offseason. That was 4,400 XP that he earned this season, and he could still be in for another good one next year. And look at our coordinators also making very healthy jumps. Our 35-year-old new offensive coordinator jumps to a level 17. We're going to have to give him a mixture of points. Offense is good. We are getting the maximum 10. I'm going to leave him there. Let's give him a 5 in training and a 3 to recruiting and give him a new badge. It's really nice to have the quarterback whisper, but it's one position. Your entire offensive line being better at pass blocking throughout a game. I think I'll take that. And our defensive coordinator did not progress quite as much, but he's close to his next level. He's up to a level 19. He is that little bit older, so he didn't get that 1,000-point bonus. But again, we've noted that defense has been important, but we do not have the bonuses on defense that we have on offense. So let's go ahead and put a point in there to make him effective as a defensive play caller. As much as I want that recruiting, we need to be able to be effective in games. No badge for this one, but he's on his way towards the next level, and that's a good year. That's 5 levels we just picked up. Let's hope we can now hang on to everybody. Well, my head coach is making me nervous. His team lock has ended a couple years ago, and he does not want to sign a new deal right now. He does have multiple years left on that deal. But with only 1 year left on the contracts for our coordinators and their coach locks ending and them just leveling up and us having some success the last couple of years, I do fear that somebody's going to come in after them. So let's at least see what we can do about renegotiation, even though it's going to likely cost us a little bit more, but their salary is not that high. It's okay. Yeah, coach lock, 3-year deal, but that's 2-year coach lock, $900K. Let's take it. $950 for the other. We'll take that one as well. Head coach was the only problem, and it is a problem. TCU has stepped in to try to hire our head coach. who we've taken from scratch, and still in his 30s, found some success, and others have gotten the attention. Let's see if we can make a counteroffer and hang on to him. He was pretty cheap, so fingers crossed that we can hang on to him. Wow, that's a huge contract. Yeah, that's not happening. Choices aren't great. There's not a lot of guys that are really interested in the job that have much quality to speak of right now. A reminder that for head coach, I'm not worried about their offensive and defensive ratings. I'm worried about matching schemes as much as possible, and then training and recruiting. Now, I wanted recruiting to be higher, but I'm not finding a combination. Everybody has either high recruiting and really low training, or they have high training and really low recruiting. This is the only one that's moderate in both, and also one of them is high. And then he actually has a good set of skill badges that I like. +1 to strength. On defense, defensive practice focuses have a 20% better. They're 20% more effective, so our defensive training is going to be stronger in preparation for games. And then big hitters get 100 extra points in recruitment, so there's a recruiting double bonus to go with the pretty decent rating. Good development for D-line and safeties, and then I just got a coordinator with a linebacker bonus, meaning 3 out of the 4 defensive positions are going to have that 7% increase to their development. So our defense, or our development across board, is going to be really good. And then a 9 in training means he's going to be able to develop individually quite well. Only problem is we're going to be in the exact same boat with this guy as we were previously. Spread pass first is synced up, but nickel and balanced man is the opposite of what we want to run. However, it looks like I could probably switch us to the balanced man if I want over what our defensive coordinator is running, and this will suit the team a little bit better than what we were dealing with this year, assuming that we're going to be still in that same boat. So we can actually still get a partial match on how things are working. His career, he's been around a while. He is 51. And he has spent a little bit of time as a head coach. He's always been a defensive coordinator otherwise, and he worked his way up to Ohio State. Great team. Won a national championship with them. So he got hired on at Tennessee. Pretty prestigious start. Made the playoff 2 years in a row. Slipped down just a little bit, but won their bowl game the next year. And then had one rough year. So they let him go. He went back to being a defensive coordinator. And last year was not good. One to forget. He's going to fail upwards considering the last year. But he's also going to fail downwards. He's got to drop to the bottom division to a team that hasn't had much prestige, much of a history to get that chance. It's definitely not Tennessee for his second chance as a head coach, but he's also not coming off of an Ohio State job. But I think he suits us better than all the other options. He's also close to his next level, so a good year this next year could see us add a point to, or a couple points to recruiting. And that's definitely still a larger contract than our young guy that we had. To get that coach lock, we are looking at $3 million. Now I'm not even sure, do I want to spend that extra to keep him locked in for a couple of years? I think I do. We'll sign the coach lock. And of course the coach integrity hit as we bring somebody new in drops us down to a 56. Not sure how we sign a new deal with our offensive coordinator, and TCU wants to bring him along. They're the ones who are taking away our head coach. Now they're going to take away our offensive coordinator who has a coach lock. Not sure how they can do that when he's just signed a new deal. Yeah, it's not showing our new deal, so it wouldn't kick in till next year apparently. Meaning it was available for this. That's BS. You signed the deal. That should already come into effect, and they shouldn't be able to turn around and take them away from you right after that and now require us a very healthy increase. And I think we do need to hang on to this young guy. Oh, come on. Our defensive coordinator as well. I will look, though, on this one. One, he's not as young, and two, he doesn't match up with the new head coach. With the new head coach, we've got nickel and balanced man. Let's see. This is too funny as we are swapping the head coach from TCU who just got bought out of his contract so that they could bring in our head coach, is available and on the market and willing to accept a defensive coordinator job. He's 57. He's definitely on the older side, but all the defensive players get +2 tackling and pursuit in games is a good badge. Defense gains +2 man and zone coverage on third downs. That's a very good badge. Recruiting pitches to safeties yield 50 points. Yeah, that's okay. That'll help. But all defensive players get +1 block shedding in games. And recruiting man-to-man archetype yields 100 extra points. So a couple recruiting things, 3 in-game things, not the development ones. We're losing the development ones. And on top of losing the development ones, his training is a 1. However, play calling, a 10. And then they'll at least link up on the nickel part, but we'll have the 10. Recruiting, 9. If we could ever get up another level, probably not, but if we ever can, we'll definitely put it into training. He's going to hurt us on the training part here. But having been let go, he's just wants a job, and we can get a coach lock for just $650K. And even though they both like nickel, I'm gonna make them run a 3-4 again this next year. We'll take the aggressive man bonus. It'll be enough. We'll get our 10 with that, but we're gonna play aggressive man instead of aggressive zone. And sticking with the spread pass first means we should have our 10s this season on play calling. Plenty of retirements this year, including a few head coaches and including the undefeated Spencer Jacob, who just won the national championship, 7-time conference coach of the year. They've been so good throughout this series, and their head coach has retired at level 30. Level 30, highest we've seen. But the Oregon State and Arizona State head coaches have retired as well, along with a couple of coordinators. Well, that was very much some turmoil when it came to coaching staff. 2 positions are replaced. Not excited by that one, and it was expensive to hang on to the third. But we have a 2-time all-conference Harry Grant, who nothing we can do will change the fact that he has dropped from a second round to a third round in the mock draft. But nothing we can do will stop him from entering the draft. Man, that sucks. That sucks, because he could have been a 90 in the coming year. Absolutely could have been a 90. And we're losing Roger Lawrence as well. Just 6th round. But there's a chance to convince him to stay, and we'll certainly go for it, as we do have a 6th round draft, mock draft for Roy Crockett. A little surprising that it's not more. He's already a 91 with A+ potential. 2-time all-conference. But not as good as some of the others we've had. Valdez, for that matter, as well. It's going to hurt without those 2. Another all-conference, 2-time all-conference. And a few guys retiring that didn't hardly play. That's 20 graduates, though, so that's a lot going out. Plus the 1 draftee and potentially a second. We'll see what we can do to convince him otherwise. Win 10 games or spend $2.33 million. 10 games. That is a big ask. It's only 6 coach integrity. Bye-bye 6 coach integrity. We will make that promise to get him here for 1 more year, and then he can head off to the draft. So we'll still have a good tight end for next year. I doubt we're going to get the 10 wins, but 6 coach integrity is not that expensive. With 21 outbound, 5 looking to transfer, and only 2 or 3 signatures so far at the moment. We're all the way down to 61 scholarships, having 24 more openings to go. I think we're going to decrease this number. We're going to be able to offer that playing time. There's a whole lot of vacancies. There's a whole lot of spots to fill, so we will be able to get a lot of these guys the guarantees that they're looking for. But you got 3 running backs all looking for that same guarantee of being next. And we have 1 graduate, I think, plus Grant. So There's going to be two guys that are going to be able to have a drastically increased playing time. So we can make a couple promises there. But we got a redshirt freshman quarterback who plummeted in potential and durability in just 2 years. So yeah, we'll let him go. No problem. I will let him walk. 450K NIL to keep Owen LeBlanc around is probably a good thing. We don't know quite how much development we're going to get out of these guys. 30% snaps is probably an easier promise. They're all similar potential. Anybody lacking durability? No, they're all good on durability. All four of them are really good on durability and very, very similar. And all three of these guys are going into their senior year. I understand their desire to play for that senior year. I think we're ultimately just going to have to pick. LeBlanc does have the higher star rating and got the experience from this year. So let's promise him snaps. In fact, that's not even... he had. Okay, that was what he had. Do we want to promise somebody else? That was 18% for the third string guy. 31% for the second string. It's going to be hard to promise much playing time for either one of these two, and we may end up having to allow them to walk, which is a scary prospect. But can we... There you go. See, 50 carries. That's more like it. I think we might be able to manage to offer that one. They're both looking for a 50 carry kind of season. We got 44 for our third string guy. I think we can manage to manipulate that in one of our games at some point to get that 50 carries to happen. So, who do we want to keep though? I guess what it's going to come down to is current profile of the two. Durability A for Little John. They both have the B potential and 76, but what is it that makes that up? We're lacking a little bit of strength, catching, but he's a good route runner, has fairly good overalls, and he was a 73. He's taken about a +3 each year. And we saw durability go the right direction instead of the wrong. In the case of Ballard, he has speed, but he is not well-rounded. Speed and ball security is about all he has. He also has less durability. He took a much bigger jump this last year, but he was taking much smaller leaps in the previous years. Definitely does not have the same durability. I think this is the one we let go, Ballard. So Little John gets the promise of 50 carries, and there you go. We're going to have 3 good running backs next year. We just have a couple of promises that we're going to have to keep up with. Our offensive lineman is up to 5th on the depth chart, which is a 60% threshold. I think Bartlett was like 6th this year and got 51%. That's asking a lot. I'm going to just use the NIL instead, just in case. He's at 5th, he should be safe. At 5th, he should be safe. But Frank was 5th this year and did get 66. Which means we can save money. We'll save the money. We will make sure that he's getting that. He's very high potential and high durability. And with only a single obvious cut situation, remember our roster is condensed down quite a bit with so many graduating and 1 entering the draft and 2 being allowed to transfer out. Means we're already down to 63 on scholarships. So yeah, only the 1 additional cut. And that's somebody who fell off to us, has not developed well. Redshirt sophomore is still a 68. Like, we get freshmen occasionally that are higher than that, and most that are close to that. And so as they start, that's them coming out of high school, as they start as freshmen, normally they're a 69 or a 70. So he's a redshirt sophomore, potential's dropped and just not developing. Yes, he's got the durability, but we're definitely going to let him walk. So that's 3 players out. We do have some holes to fill. It's going to be an important recruiting session. So as Utah's quarterback goes first in the draft, quick note for us. So we have, for the series, that is, I am heading on vacation a couple of days from now. So I've been working really hard over the last couple of weeks to record a bit ahead of time. And then when I get back, it's going to take me a little bit of catching up time. And so what I'm doing over this stretch is I will have something for every single day, while I'm gone, but it'll be a little bit less than normal. So instead of 3 episodes per week for the next couple of weeks, we will have 2 episodes per week, and then I'll get back on track with this series after I return and get caught up a little bit. But as for our team, 2 guys did make it into the draft. Harry Grant, late 3rd round. He really should have stuck around one more year, and we probably could have gotten him third team All-American, maybe, certainly All-Conference, maybe a Conference MVP or Conference Player of the Year, and certainly could have gotten him into the higher part of the 2nd round, if not the 1st round. Roy Crockett did a little bit better than expected with a 5th round draft pick. I'm not at all surprised by the current quality / potential. We did keep him around all the way through his senior year to get to that point, though, so he's a little bit older. And again, I could see that the number of sacks that he allowed hurt. The number of pancakes did not greatly exceed the number of games played. I think that hurt his stock a little bit. His performance was definitely not as good as it could have or should have been. But in the school record, wow, that's barren landscape, but we are so many years in now, it's harder and harder to break records. But Alec Rogers, the safety, has just graduated with 0 interceptions this season. 0, not 1 interception this season, but his career included 6. Team records. Best offensive talent that we've had. That was the only record. Wow. So the only records this season were one that didn't improve upon this year at all with a career record, and then the overall average talent of the team was the best we've had. We didn't set any other records, yet we still went into an 8-5 season. So I'll take it. I will take it. I'm not complaining about this year at all. We just kind of did what we had to do, right? No records along with this. It's like the first year that's really had. This is the first year. You could ultimately say that there was no records, not really, broken this year at all, player or team. Just as, in the case of Rodgers, that was last year. The previous 3 years, anyway, that he did that with 0 additional this year. So far, we have just 3 commits, 1 tight end, 1 linebacker, and 1 corner. And with the additional guys heading out, we need lots of running backs, lots of offensive linemen, D linemen, and linebackers. We've got some offers on those D linemen. We've got the tight end thing going okay. We've got a few offers in on running backs, but no signees yet. And there's at least one of those, my favorite target of the year, that will not happen. There is absolutely 0 chance. So I gave up on that one, but the offer is still there. And the 3rd one is probably not going to happen. I do think we'll get the 2nd. So we'll get 1 key running back signing, but that's going to leave us pretty open maybe on the transfer market of being able to find somebody. I do have a few extra names on the list that I'm going to have to take off at least momentarily and just scout separately, as they're in that below 30% threshold and I need to make space for incoming transfer market guys. But we're doing pretty good, I think, at safety, corner, 1 linebacker, but we're going to need additional D linemen. I've definitely found some good options in there. We just hopefully need to be able to get those signatures across the line. Kicker is a big one. We need to find a kicker in this transfer market. Really hope we can. Junior year, or are we heading into senior year with our kicker? He's definitely not graduating, but the only backup behind him is not good enough, never will be good enough, so we're going to have to find somebody at some point. Offensive line, we definitely need more. I do have a few targets we're getting after, but 0 signees yet. Wide receivers looking okay, but a lot of these 7 are new targets. I think that's the group that's going to get the 30% reveal this week. So I'll know at least 5 new names on whether any of them may be worthy. And yeah, that quarterback list, only one of those is one that I know about. The others, I think the other 7 are all going to be at 20 or 25% this week. So a scouting point will, one of my 10 scouts remaining can get those guys over the line. I was finishing off the list of 3-star players out there, and finish scouting those, and that's what finally brought me into the quarterbacks. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's something good in the transfer market in the freshman class that nobody else is offering that we can do instead of like all 8 of those. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'll do this work off camera when I get a chance, hopefully before I head on the vacation. Otherwise, I'll do it when I get back. No, I'll definitely do it before then, because I still have, I think, one more recording for this series, maybe 2, before I head out. So, yes, no, it's definitely going to get done before then, but I'm heading into a weekend, so it's kind of a good time to sit down for 5 hours and take care of this. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.